you say that you have learned along the way to this dream that you're living right now?
First of all, you must have a dream or vision of where you want to go. You need to write it down. Okay. That doesn't mean your vision, your dream won't change, but you need to put it on a piece of paper where you can see it. You wake up every morning, you can see it.
Excellent.
That'll be the first.
Okay.
And then next, you need to prepare. I always say, winners do the things that losers refuse to do. Prepare to win. You have to prepare yourself to win. Okay. Because when opportunity knocks, you got to be ready.
That's right.
Opportunity can't knock you and say, well, I'll be ready tomorrow. Too late. Because there's another guy waiting to get what you want.
Exactly.
You got to be prepared to get there. So that would be number 2. The third I'd say, which is the most important, be persistent about what you want. Be persistent, dogmatic.
And you know something? That was one of mine too. If you don't mind, I'd like to add to that because my saying is be persistent consistently.
Correct.
Because if you're persistent and you fall off of it, you're not consistent with that consistency.
Correct.
So yes, you're right. You got to be persistent, but you got to be consistent.
Right.
If you fall the first time, what do?
You get back up.
There you go.
It's not determined how many times you get knocked down, how many times you get up. It counts.
Exactly. And something I saw or heard, maybe I heard it from you, talking about just stand. Was that you that said that, or did I hear that somewhere?
You heard it, but I also believe in that same thing. Just stand.
Okay.
I always say a man has to be a man.
Okay.
There's always going to be something tough. There's always going to be a difficult moment, but you got to stand. We all cross some difficult times. You lose a sibling, you lose a parent, you cry, but you still have the task in front of you.
You keep going.
You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going for not only for yourself, but the people behind you.
I'm going to stop you at that point because that was going to be my next topic because the thing I was going to ask you about is things passed along the way. So you're getting ready to tell us what you have passed along the way, the things that you've learned.
Well, what I've learned, again, first of all, the degree of excellence.
Okay.
And let me give you just a little snip back. That's taking a little step back.
Okay.
Now, I remember when I was in high school, I took engineering. At the time I took it, there were no black architects or engineers. And so this teacher, because I told you my parent went to every parent-teacher meeting, my father and mother went to parent-teacher meeting, and the teacher said, well, we really don't prefer Frank not to take this engineering class because there's no black architects or engineers. My mother tells the story. She said, my father looked away and turned back around and put his finger right in the teacher's face and tell him, you teaching, let that be my problem. Let that be my problem. Not yours, let that be my problem. And fortunate for me, when I say fortunate for me, I ended up being the best student, the top student in the school. Well, during those days, we talk about technical training. You had businesses that went and picked up the top kids in their schools and brought them in. Well, this business in Cleveland, Ohio brought me in. I was a top student in class. In that engineering class, from 96 to 100 was an A. From 95 to 85 was a B. I got all A's in that class.
Wow.
So I, in turn, got the job. So I helped do some of the urban renewal that was done in Cleveland in the 60s. And they were paying $800 and $600 a drawing. And my father and mother went out the way and bought me a drafting table to put in my room.
Okay.
For me to earn what I did for that summer. And I enjoyed it. I think from the standpoint, again, it goes back to my parents stood up. I'm a kid. The teacher told me, okay, I may have accepted it.
Right, because if you didn't have that influence from your both parents,
right,
you would have accepted what they told you.
Yes,
and
yes.
Going about your business and missed your path.
Right.
So what was it that about engineering? I mean, how did you know that that's what you wanted to do?
I'll be honest with you, I really didn't know that.
How'd you find out?
You know what? If you don't try something, you'll never get there.
Sure.
My father required you to know two things. One, it's great to be smart. It's two, you need to do something with your hands. You need to be able to use your hands because a man has to earn a living.
That's right.
See, when I came along, it was the man's responsibility to earn a living. My mother didn't work.
Exactly.
So my father had to earn a living. He worked in the steel mill. They got laid off. My father had another way of earning a living for us. Mm-hmm. So that was his insistence upon you being able to do something. And so that became, to me, I thought was the easiest avenue. Now, one of the things added to it, believe me, you have a peer group. And in my peer group was a guy named Eddie Reese. He took the engineering class. I said, heck, I'll take it too.
Now we know where.
Yes, I take it too.
Okay, you said, why not, right?
Why not? Why not? Now, I hung out with another guy named Charles Rubin. Him and I competed for grades in junior high school. We competed for grades. And he laughed at me because when I took this engineering class, that means you also have to take a woodwork class because you got to know how to put together stuff you just did. So I had to take a woodwork class. Well, he said, that's not a college prep class. But low to us, it is a college prep class. Because one, you can draw it and you can perceive it, you can do it. I am a dreamer. God allowed me to dream. Going back just 2 steps back, let's just take 2 steps back to 13 years old. I decided I wanted to have a carnival. And that was tied to the fact that my father's brother used to take us to Jogger Lake on August the 4th every year. And they threw balls and knocked stuff over. They had roller coasters and stuff. And I said, you know what? And they had soapbox derbies because I'm in Ohio. So I wanted that. So I took and I told my father I wanted to build a roller coaster. I said, I need some wire. My father brought wire back from the steel mill, a roll of wire. He bought the 2 sets of clips, one to cut with and one to twist it with. And I went and got some pulleys. I went to call it lack of better term. I went to the dump yard, found some boxes, took these boxes, turned them in, put the pulleys on, and made me a roller coaster. I charged the kids to ride my roller coaster.
Yeah, you were an entrepreneur at that age.
Right.
So because you never had the seed of doubt put into you,
no,
it was you had that influence from your first mentor, your father.
Yes.
Can you imagine where people of color, if they had more mentors or father figure in the family, where we would be today?
Oh, we'd be so far ahead. We are, I call it chameleons. We can fit into any situation, but we don't take the time.
Yeah.
Take the time. You have to prepare to win. Visualize it. Think about it. When Tiger Woods putts, he looks at that hole in the ball and he visualizes the path that ball must take to go in that hole.
Gotcha.
The same thing you do with your life. You visualize what you must do to get there. Your answer is yes. It's never no.
You know, I'm going to turn it back to Dee for a little because she's a visionary herself. Because she said pretty much some of the same things that you said. That I came from a humble, and if you don't mind me speaking for you this morning, she said I came from a humble upbringing. I realized that at a certain point I want more.
Exactly.
Right. I know how to go about and get it. She know who she was and who she is and how to do whatever it takes to get with legally, of course.
Sure.
So I'm gonna let you speak to that, Dee. Tell us, help us out on that, because I'm
I agree with everything he said.
Okay.
And he can tell you, and even though he's just meeting you,
right?
But before I married my second husband, I'd already had, I think, a nice, comfortable home. You know, I want more. Why settle for this little square box when I can have much, much more? And I agree. People of color should come. I told my daughter, you can get a job, but you will not work at McDonald's. You will not work certain places.
Okay.
Go Park and Planet. Some places I will not allow you to work.
Right.
I want you to do and be better than I am. I look forward to retiring to go back to work to do what my passion is, which is domestic violence. I want these women, they don't have to be in a particular mental situation, and that's another whole new story, another topic. But I agree with everything Frank says.
Okay.
And some of us just settle. Why settle? Somebody asked me one time, why do you have so many vehicles? Because this is what I like. This is what I want. Do I drive them often? No, I do not. But I have what I want. Somebody can say, why are you in this big, gorgeous home? This is what, why stand
This is the dream we're talking about?
This is exactly. This is your dream.
Correct.
Why don't you have one car? Or either I can see one large vehicle and a two-seater.
Sure.
You want more.
Right.
So this is, I agree with everything.
And the difference between, from what I've known of you for the little bit of time I've known of you, you didn't have the mentor in your life
No,
But
I
you
did
had
not
something.
have, but I had Jesus Christ in my
Okay.
life and didn't realize that he was going to take a hold of my hand,
Okay.
and I had to follow him.
Right.
Even though, just like a child, if you don't discipline that child or lead that child, the child won't know which way to go. So I had Christ and didn't know it at that particular time. No, my mother and father were together, but I knew I wanted more than what they had.
Okay.
My father didn't care whether we ate or not. He got paid on Fridays. He was gone. He come back home when the money was gone. Well, I wanted much more than that.
Okay. It just goes to show that from different
Different
background
backgrounds.
depends on what you want.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be an environment where you have the mentor that you have, but it depends on how bad do you want it.
I think it has a lot to do with the individual.
That's what I'm saying.
Not so much. It's wonderful to have both parents and the father and the mother take their position as to keep that family together and bond.
Right.
However, I didn't have all of that,
You're
but I saw that across the street, so to speak.
But if I may jump in, but you are very unique. Not everybody's going to be like you.
No. Well,
but we need more.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. My given name is Adiria, and there's only one of Adiria, so that cuts it right there. There's no other like me. So, but yes, that's an ideal,
Right.
However, you can do a lot more when you have that family.
Yes,
bond.
that's the point I was
And
trying to make.
that love.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make.
Right.
We're gonna wrap this up a little bit, but before I do, I just want my audience to know I have been listening to Let's Talk About It, and these are some of the topics that we do talk about. Not all of them are as powerful and gritty. Some of them are very humorous because we talk about messed up relationships, and we make fun of it, and we also suggest how you can correct those kind of things. Sure. Frank, I want to say thank you for being our guest on Let's Talk About It. And for those, again, that you're listening, to get in contact with me for ideas about the show, and if you like the show, don't like the show, it's send me an email at doesitmatterwhen@gmail.com. Doesitmatterwhen@gmail.com. Any final words about, before we do, we got to talk about this dream. I almost forgot about that. Okay. How can I do that? I'm gonna say what that dream is, and you need to confirm from what I see.
Sure.
You live in a beautiful home. You've been retired for 14 years.
Correct.
And you were able to enjoy this beautiful home. I mean, you got 15 bathrooms. You got an awesome theater room. Just if you walk down that little hallway, it's like going into
private theater.
What's AMC? What's the football basketball player who's retired? He's got his own chain,
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson. You can go it's going down to Magic Johnson and buying your ticket. You even got a person at the ticket booth where you can get your ticket, and you got these doors. It goes in, and voila. But upscale, like today's upscale movie is. Big plush lounge seating. I mean, the surround sound is awesome. The lights dim. Okay, I'm getting excited. Tell us about this dream. This had to be part of your dream, is to have a fabulous place and some of the things you do.
Well, again, like I said, it's an evolution. Fortunately for me, I was able to work in a job where I had the opportunity to travel. I would set up parties and events for General Motors. I'd set up parties for them. So that meant I would go and do what you call the checkout trips.
Okay.
I'm a dreamer. As a dreamer, you dream of things. You visualize it. And any architect or engineer worth his while is a dreamer. Okay. He visualizes.
Right.
So I visualized what I want. I saw things that I wanted, and I just put them in the back of my mind. The good part was God gave me the ability to work with my hands, and I have a wood shop. And I was able to create from my dreams.
That's your second passion.
That's my passion. And to Dee's point, I didn't retire. I may have retired from an official job, but I'm not retired from thinking. It's just like learning. Because you went to school to learn certain things, you got to learn about life just by living life.
Exactly.
Say that one more time. That sounds so
You got to learn about life by just living life.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about that theater room. What made you come up with that idea? What was that part of the dream when I moved?